Thank you very much. Very impressive presentations already. I think it's clear that CITS has already reached the stage where it's really taking over. It's expanding and being implemented all over the place. So let me see now. Whoop, I started in the middle of the presentation. Okay. My name is Georg Brenner. I'm from the Vienna Public Transport Operator. I work in the Operational Planning and Innovations Department, and I deal with the implementation of CITS in Vienna, which is a bit of a bigger fish to fry, let's say. We have about 2.2 million inhabitants, so it's the second biggest German-speaking city in the world. We have 620,000 commuters. We have 900 million public transport users per year. We have around 1,300 traffic lights, which you can see on this little map here. And about a bit more than 1,000 of those already are frequented by public transport, and 640 have prioritization for public transport already before CITS. So now, quickly for the company I work for, we have around 10,000 employees. We run 500 trams, 500 buses, and 700 metros. So this is what we need to equip with CITS. I wanted to start with a little historical rundown because I think that CITS is going to have a huge impact. It's going to change the way traffic works in a more fundamental level than we can now see, maybe. So I wanted to start off with a very old picture of what traffic used to look like, and this is from 1890s. This is the oldest picture I could find in our archives, and you can see that what the roads looked like back then was, the horses were drawing the trams. There was no pedestrian assigned areas. Basically, everybody is going crisscross. There's no severe regulation like it is today. It looks very different. If you skip ahead a few decades, in the 1930s, the difference is already visible. You have pedestrians, assigned areas, all the horses are gone, the carriages are gone, you have fossil fuel driven cars, you have electrified trams, and there is even the first attempts at regulating intersections, not yet with traffic lights, but by hand. And in the 1940s, I wanted to bring this picture also to show that we had very different challenges in the past with traffic. This amount of snow that we had back then is more or less unthinkable nowadays. Nowadays, we have a few centimeters, if that. But it just shows that the challenges are changing and we need to adapt. And this picture from 1970 shows also that mistakes were made. Here you can see basically all the traffic blocking each other. When the streets are full, then nothing can move anymore. And this is the same spot. You can see the statue on the right-hand side is the same as the statue in the middle on the left-hand picture at the top of the middle. And you can see that the streets have changed significantly. I mean, now there's much less car traffic. We took away public space from cars. We gave it to pedestrians. We have more assigned areas for public transport. They are specifically for public transport only. So the roads have really changed. And I think CITS is going to change this picture again. So if we look at the same spot another 30 years or so from now, it might look very different yet again. Okay, now a bit more detail about what we're doing in Vienna, because here you can see our roadside unit deployment status on a map of Vienna. All the blue and red dots are intersections that already have roadside units. We have only a few trams and buses equipped for now. We're only testing it. That's because the environment is more complex here than in a smaller city. You have multiple providers for each level of hardware. You have many different providers for traffic lights. You have many different providers for vehicles and so on. So it's not as simple as implementing a single solution. You need multiple different solutions, and they all need to be interoperable. And that's one of the points I made here. Interoperability is rather problematic. The communication between different companies, even though it's supposedly standardized, the standardization needs to still be worked out a bit, because the standards in detail, they can be interpreted differently. So we're working on improving that. I don't think I need to explain how CITS works anymore. We've heard that perfectly fine before. Here's just a look at some of our roadside units. Basically, they look like a wireless router, which is more or less what they are. And our onboard units, here you can see one that is switched off on the left. This tablet, we installed them in trams. This is the actual onboard unit, the computer that is installed behind the seat of the driver. And here you can see the antennas we put. This is just a test setup, so the antennas are still inside the vehicle. Of course, for further deployment, they're going to be outside. But for the tests, they're behind the windshield. As you can see, there's wires in this windshield because it's a heated windshield, so they're a bit of a nuisance for the perception of the antenna, but it works pretty well. And here you can see what the tablet on top would show. This is the traffic lights shown for trams, for example. You can also see those in action later on. I'm going to show a video. I hope the frame rate is good enough. For now, some more pictures. Here you can see the onboard unit again on the left-hand side and a different kind of installation behind the seat. And on the right-hand side, the tablet holder, which is empty in this case. And here you can see the tablet showing the current signal phase and timing of the intersection ahead. You can see at the top the name of the intersection, below it the distance from the vehicle at the moment, and then the current signal phase and timing. And now I hope the video works. You can see in the middle is the countdown for green, and now it's switched to red. So we have 30 seconds of red right in front of us. We're standing in front of an intersection just 5 meters from it. And the relation to go to the left now switched to green and has another 10 seconds of green. And this is what the driver sees in the vehicles right now. This onboard unit, actually, this is from Ivo, who presented before me. His company provided us with this onboard unit and this visualization. So our current focus is on prioritization. We're trying to work out a way to replace the old prioritization technologies. We have different technologies currently in the works in Vienna. We use mostly a radio signal, but also some detection models that work on a different level. They are rather unreliable. They are rather expensive to maintain. So CITS provides us with an opportunity here to improve the service and to speed up our public transport. What I also mentioned here is that in the buses, we currently don't use any visualization. What you saw before, this tablet, this is only for the trams at the moment. And of course, they can also show all kinds of other information, not just signal phase and timing. Here we have a few of the use cases that we're currently testing or deploying. I don't think we have time to go through this list, but what I wanted to point out also is what I find very important is to have a short information exchange cycle with the actual drivers. And that's why we do driver surveys. We have QR codes all over the place where the drivers can scan and then fill out the survey. We have workshops with the drivers. We're trying to really get their feedback on how to improve the service, what information they would like. And there's also some use cases for CITS arising from that. So, for example, we're now starting to deploy, or we're building a data pipeline to show flexible speed limits, like adaptive speed limits, because we know that, for example, when a tram track gets damaged, the speed limit for that track is reduced. And this is a bit hard to communicate to drivers. They get it in paper, but of course, not all of them read the paper all the time. It's more than 1,000 drivers, so it's hard to reach everybody for every spot in the entire network. So we're trying to deploy this information. This is one of the suggestions the drivers actually made to us. And what I'm showing here is some survey results. We basically ask them, does it work well? Do they find it useful? The number of drivers who don't find it useful is rather high here because signal phase and timing is only useful to drivers who don't have enough experience yet. The very experienced drivers, they don't benefit from signal phase and timing, but they still say they like it. It's very good for beginners. And of course, the use cases that are going to be coming to CITS, they're going to be useful for them as well. We also constantly assess with them what if the information conveyed is easy to understand. They give us feedback about that. We have now tried different methods of visualization. We are also working on like low-hanging fruits, for example. In the beginning, we had the tablet on light mode all the time, and the drivers told us that it really needs a night mode because it's blinding in the dark. So we made a night mode, so it's darker in the nights, things like this. We have a lot of CITS projects where we're testing all kinds of different applications. One interesting project, maybe the second one, where we are looking into vulnerable road user protection. We have an intersection that is equipped with cameras where we're trying to detect all traffic participants. And there is a prediction model running that predicts the pathways of all traffic participants by 2 to 3 seconds. And when that prediction model predicts a collision, it sends out warnings to all the traffic participants in the immediate area. This is one of our research projects. And I also wanted to summarize all our experience. I mean, the first point is, I think by now rather obvious. CITS is not going to go away. It's here to stay. It's going to expand, and there's going to be new services developing that we can't even foresee now yet. I'm thinking, for example, of replacing traffic signs. In the long run, why do you need a traffic sign that tells you what speed limit is at this point if you can just see it on your dashboard, for example? The second point, that it's challenging across different providers. The compatibility is an issue because we have, like I mentioned before, we have many different providers of hardware and software, and to transfer data between them, even in a standardized method, is not always trivial. The costs for the hardware are actually rather moderate. To install hardware in a single vehicle is around 1,000, maybe 2,000 euros. But the software is more tricky, and it needs a lot of time and troubleshooting because, of course, the whole system is developing and it's not as mature yet. And comparing and measuring performance relative to old systems is also not always easy. We're trying to have KPIs, for example, to compare prioritization between different methods, but that also comes with certain issues. What I mentioned already, the short feedback loops, I find it very important to constantly collect feedback from drivers, from the people who are using the system on the ground. And I already mentioned the night mode. Another issue we had was, for example, that the tablets made a sound every time they received some message. And that, of course, was also very irritating to the drivers. And the last point, Glosa was surprisingly unpopular in Vienna. The drivers did not like it. They didn't want to be told what speed to drive. They prefer to be told how many seconds the current phase has left on the next traffic light. So we changed the communication with regards to that as well.